This is lesson 2-7. Find the number word problems. So this is our first time this year working with word problems, and we first need to discuss the procedures that we'll use for all word problems. Find the number word problems are the most basic type of word problems that we will do this year. So we're going to discuss a general rule base for all word problems, and then when we do different types of word problems, that's when we are going to have specific rules for those. But these procedures should be followed with all word problems regardless of the type, and then we will add special steps in for different types of word problems. The first step is to read the problem carefully, and typically this means you're going to have to read it multiple times. Me personally, I read all word problems 3 times. I get a general overview on the first one. On the second time, I'm looking for specifics. And then the third time through, I'm looking at it to make sure that I didn't miss any information. From there, I want you to highlight your variable and operation words. Words that refer to a variable or a number, as well as words that refer to an operation. What would be very helpful for you here is the word map that we made with the 5 boxes that have all the words for addition, subtraction, multiplication, division, and equals. The next thing we're going to do is write a let statement or let statements depending on the type of problem that we're doing. For these problems that we're doing in this section, we're only going to have to write one let statement. And you should let your variable, which it can be any variable you want. You'll see me using X because it's what I'm used to. It's what I grew up with. You need to let your variable be whatever you want and need to find. It's not always going to be let X be the number. Okay? It could be let X be the number of miles. Let X be the amount of money that so-and-so made, etc. That's where reading the problem carefully comes into play. From there, you're going to set up an equation to solve, and that will always be based on your highlighting that you do. Then you want to solve the equation that you have, and you want to include your properties. Always, I will say, even though it's not required, you should be checking your work. And then at the end, you're going to write a conclusion statement which begins with therefore. You can write the word therefore, or you can use a symbol that I will show you on the next slide. Conclusion statements must be complete sentences at all times. You can argue about the fact that this is not an English class, but it doesn't really matter. We need to write complete sentences and work on our other subjects just like we work on math. In fact, in this particular section, it is not acceptable to write mathematical symbols in your conclusion statement. So let's take a look at number 1 from the homework. We'll do this one together. A number decreased by 20 equals 36. Find the number. So the first thing I want to do here is highlight the words or numbers that refer to numbers that are going to be in the equation. I've done that here with a number, because that obviously represents a number, even though we don't know it. 20 and 36 are numbers, so we highlight all of those things in the same color. For this, I've chosen to use yellow. Now I want to highlight in a different color the words that mean some sort of operation. Decreased by means to subtract, and equals means equals. That highlighting is going to help me with my equation setup. So next thing I want to do is set up a let statement. I'm going to name my variable that I'm going to use and also say what it's going to represent. I need to find the number, so in this case I'm going to let X be the number. As I said previously, I tend to use X a lot, most often, in fact all the time. You don't have to use X if you don't want to. From here, I need to set up an equation based on what I highlighted. So I'm looking at what I highlighted, and I see a number. A number is represented by X. Decrease by means to subtract. 20 is 20, equals is equals, and 36 is 36. That's how I come up with my equation. X minus 20 equals 36. At this point, you probably could pause the video to give yourself a chance to solve the equation. Make sure you also perform a check. So I'll start off solving this one-step equation by adding 20 to both sides, of course drawing my mirror. That's the addition property of equality, and my final answer is x equal to 56. As I stated before, I do always check my work by plugging in 56 for x to see if it works, and 36 is equal to 36. So now I need a conclusion statement. I need to write a complete sentence that states what I found. The only symbol that you're allowed to use for conclusion statements is the symbol for therefore. It's a series of 3 dots in the form of a triangle. That symbol means therefore. So therefore, the number is 56. If you're having any issues with this particular lesson, please make sure you consult your teacher in class.